And of course, in studio now, we do have another guest. Remember, today we're talking about matters mental health. And we had a conversation earlier on. You can go to our YouTube where we spoke about why people stay in abusive relationships, right? And so today we want to look at why. Because when you stay in an abusive relationship, there's always that person who's an abuser. There's always the person who's putting you down. There's always the violent one. There's always the manipulative one, because we know we can be very, very manipulative. So, wako hapo. So now we want to look at things from the abuser's perspective. Mm-hmm. Why do we abuse? Why do we manipulate? Why are we violent? Okay? That's a conversation we want to have. In studio, we have Naireen. Louw. Naireen, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm well.
So good to have you here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Now, to begin with, Naireen, let's look at how psychologists define abuse in a relationship context.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Abuse is a complete loss of control or power to another individual. Mm-hmm. So it's someone who has more power than you, trying to control and limit every aspect of your life, whether it's through your body, control over your body, over who you socialize with, who you interact with, how you interact, your money, all that. They control every aspect and they want to maintain power.
Mm. Yeah. And when you say somebody who's got power over you, that means, do we base it on financial?
It could be, that's an aspect, but it could also be psychological or social, in terms of you may find somebody who is very well paid, but at home they have somebody who is exerting abuse over them. So maybe you have a female judge. It's usually, I'll use the stereotype because it's usually males that are the abusers. Yeah. But there are women who abuse. Yes. So if we have, for example, a male judge who goes home and his wife is physically abusive, verbally abusive, and people may not understand. You're in a position of power, you have the money, why don't you just leave? Yeah. But that's the whole psychological aspect of abuse. They have deconstructed your sense of self so that you feel like you're nothing without this person. Yeah.
I like that you brought that aspect first, because most times we look at abuse and we feel like it's just a man doing it, right? For instances, and we also feel like when it's an abuse, it's the power play. We always feel like, oh, because this person has, when it comes to finances, this person has more than this person does. But you also see people who, like you've given that example of people who are very stable, right? They do their thing, but when they get home, then there's this person, this other partner who's very manipulative, who's very abusive. How does this person get to diminish Salim, who we all see as the power person? And then when Salim goes home, he's brought down to his knees.
You use the words manipulative.
Yeah.
It's abuse is learned behavior. And there are personality disorders that are tied to abuse. Yeah. So I'm sure there are pop words like narcissistic, psychopathic, sociopathic. These are words that are used frequently, but you cannot assign them to someone without a psychiatrist, but we'll use them in like layman's terms. So what it means is all these people have one thing in common. They're very manipulative and they lack empathy. So the difference between the two main ones, which is psychopathy and narcissists, is that one of them needs to feed off you as the victim. They care what people think about them. That's a narcissist. Narcissists are very charming. They're very giving of themselves to others, not to the person they're abusing. They love to gaslight. They manipulate your emotions. They make you feel like your reality isn't your reality. But on the other side, we have psychopaths who simply don't care what you think about them. We usually think of psychopaths in terms of crime, but many psychopaths are actually bosses, leaders of huge companies, because they're willing to cut people down to get further. They look at you and they see, how can you help me? And then they will leverage that. And if you're going to cry and they're going to destroy your family, they don't really care because it doesn't affect them. Yeah. That's like the main difference between the two.
Okay. Is maneno. Okay. Umesema hapo kuna mfano umetoa wakati Miriam alikuuliza the very first question. Ukasema mtu mwenye ana control the people that kwa Miriam usiende, kwa Eugene I don't want to see you there. Na kwa Barisa ni hatia sana kwenda huko. How is that nini? Inaitwa
which one? What word are you looking for?
The topic.
Abuse.
How is that abuse?
Yes.
Or manipulative?
Yes.
Okay.
How is that abuse? Because wakati tunakuwa babako ama mamako atakwambia sitaki kuona kwa nyumba fulani.
Yes.
Na usiwahi kula mahali kwingine.
Yes.
Yes. Umeielewa?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's such a good question. So the key is here. Your parents were doing it to protect you for your safety, right? Because ulikuwa mdogo.
Yeah.
You are a child. They were in their purpose is to make you grow, get into adulthood safely, right? But when we're talking about abuse in this aspect of relationships, these are two adults. Okay? So one of them will play with your mind and make you think you cannot survive in the world safely without me. So your money ije kwangu ndio nitakupa. If it's friends, huyu rafiki si mzuri, huyu ni mbaya. Instead of saying I don't like that friend of yours, be careful. There's a difference. Naweza kuambia Salim, this friend of yours, no, simpendi, but you be careful. Different from saying I don't want to see you near that friend. So zingine even they will hear you talking, like Miriam will be talking about Esther. I hope you don't know an Esther.
Yes.
And then I say, I really don't like that friend of yours, Esther. I've never met her, don't know anything about her. But just because now I know you have a friend called Esther, I'm going to now try and separate you. Because they work on isolation. They want you to believe I am your everything. Because that's how the abuse will continue. They need you. For like narcissists, wanataka this that word narcissism, it means someone who is so full of themselves.
Yeah.
They need to be praised all the time. So how do I get praise all the time? By meeting a new person, it won't work. So I need you, mwenye ushanizoea, I'll put you down, I'll lift you up when I want, and then put you down again, and lift you up, put you down again. But you will stay where you are. If you have friends, your friends will tell you home to si mzuri. And at some point, it will click and you leave me.
Why does this happen in? And you know why I find this difficult to comprehend? When people get married, right? And you're marrying somebody and it's forever. It's somebody you love, right?
Yes.
And I'm talking about it this way because I love love. I love the idea of love. How is it that when you with this person, now all of a sudden you're the reason for this person's pain, and now there's a level of control, right? And you know, every time you control this person, the other person is unhappy. Why do we get into marriage to just tear each other down?
Again, now abuse is learned behavior. So it could be that the abuser saw a pattern of abuse in childhood and believes that's how to keep control in their family. It could also be that they have a personality disorder, which is what I was talking about, like psychopathy and narcissistic personality disorder. But they could also have, and that doesn't mean that they're blameless. Personality disorders doesn't mean you're blameless. You're able to know and you're able to control your behavior, right? But one of the main reasons people go into marriage, remember you used the word love. Our definition of love is very different. From childhood, your parents say, I love you. But that's the same parent who beats you. So you already have that construct in your mind. When I am hit, I can be hit by someone who loves me. Okay? So when your abuser is telling you, look what you made me do, you're remembering childhood. Now, this isn't an active memory that's coming up, but your mind has been programmed that way, that my mom used to hit me because I made my clothes dirty.
Yeah.
So I did something to make her hit me. Therefore, even this person is hurting me because I did
I've done something wrong.
Yes. So our definition of love, first of all, has to be changed. What our parents, many of us, experienced with us is a word called cathexis. Cathexis is an obligation of care, meaning they were obligated, even by the government, to take care of you, to feed you, but they didn't necessarily like you or love you. When we talk about love, love is a verb and it's an emotion. Meaning every day when you wake up, I choose to love you, Miriam. I will do things to show you consideration, to nurture you, to make you grow, and to help you feel like you belong here with me.
Yeah.
As soon as I do anything opposite to those things, if I don't put you into consideration, like let's say you're allergic to prawns and then I cook prawns for dinner. If I'm not making you feel like you belong, if I say, I don't think you can come to me for my dinner parties with my workmates.
Yeah.
Okay. If I'm not nurturing you, I'm seeing Miriam, I got Miriam like this, and Miriam is not changing over the years.
Yeah.
I need to motivate you, nurture you, see you bloom, see the things that make you
Yeah.
feel seen. And then also I need to actively show you affection, make you feel wanted, make you feel loved. So when you're not doing any of those things, you don't love that person.
Yeah.
You're there to receive what we call a narcissistic source. It's, if you think of vampires, you know how vampires need like to suck off. Yes, that's what they do. They just need to latch on to you. And that's why a narcissist will follow their partner. They will say, I hate that person. I don't like them. I don't want to see them again. But they will follow them across
Yes.
the country
Yes.
to be where they are. A person can ask for divorce and the partner will really talk bad about them and then tell them, you know what, I really, really want to stay married to you. And you're confused, like,
How?
you just said I'm like the worst person you ever met. How why
Yes.
would you want to stay married to me?
Yeah.
Because you're their source. They're feeding off you. They need that. They need to feel good because they now need a whole new relationship to manipulate a new person. Till that point, it will take time.
Okay.
So better I have you.
What drives somebody to become abusive?
History. This is, again, abuse is learned. I really want to drum that into everyone
Yes, because I really want you to
listening.
break that down. In fact, when you say abuse is learned.
learned behavior.
Yeah.
So how, and this is something I want each of you who are listening to take into consideration. When you meet someone who's good, someone who's kind, someone who is gentle, know that they are purposing to be good, kind, and gentle. They're putting in effort to be that. Okay? This is not something that happens naturally.
Yes.
Okay? The same as when you meet someone who is mean, who is abusive, who diminishes other people. They are putting in effort to be that way. Okay? And many of us, sometimes we tend to find excuses for the people who abuse. Now, it's for the abuser to look for the signs that, am I really an abuser? And sometimes you'll find abusers will accuse their victims of being abusers too.
Yeah.
Yes. Like, I'm the narcissist in the situation, but I will accuse you, Miriam, of being the narcissist. It's a form of abuse called reactive abuse. I know what buttons to push. So that when you pick that book and throw it across the room, I say, see? And now you start questioning yourself. So there is a chance that the person who is being accused of being an abuser is actually the victim. And there's a chance that they are the abuser. They need to be very clear on why they're doing the things that they're doing.
Okay, let's talk about the signs, because I want to know if I am an abuser, right? Because we're looking at that perspective, not me.
Here we go.
No,
Mtaalam wako hapa ataeleza sababu.
What would show me? What would indicate that I am an abuser?
The first thing is power and control. Abusers have almost orgasmic reaction to power and control. They are so excited by it, right? And that's why you will find, for example, in cases of physical abuse, how can you as an adult be beating on a child to the point where that child cannot move? You know, like, what pleasure do you get out of that? It's the exertion of control. So if you find that you're excited by power and control, there is a difference in behavior. Let's talk about behavior so it's easy for people to identify.
Yes.
There is a very big difference in me saying, like the example you gave, I would like for you not to be Miriam's friend because of ABCD. Be careful. And there's a difference for me saying, you're not going to Miriam or else. You know,
or else.
now I'm
Condition.
controlling you. Yeah. There's a difference between controlling your behavior and guiding your behavior.
Yeah.
Tumepata hapo?
Yeah.
So like now your parents can control you because you're a child, but
Yeah.
it should not be happening in an adult relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was that? Yeah.
Wazazi wanafaa because ni mtoto.
Yes.
But your partner, mke wako vipi?
When you say
anakuambia,
or
like,
else.
yes, like that's putting an ultimatum. Or
Yes.
for example, it happens a lot of times when you find like someone is cheating and then the partner will say, like let's say, let me use you as an example, Salim, please.
you are
So
free.
I'll say,
Feel
Salim, hutaeka any pin on your phone. No more passwords. I want to have access on the phone. I want to know what you're doing. So that is exerting control on you. But
Yes.
why? Because there was a reason. You
Yes.
cheated. So that is not abuse.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But if now...
Accessing.
If you cheated on me and I found out, now you lose that right.
Yes.
Because you have to rebuild the trust.
What do you mean you lose that right?
You lose that right.
Every
You've
time
broken
really-
trust. Remember the last
I am wondering.
time we met, I
Yes.
told you there are 3 things that are needed in a relationship.
Yes.
You need authenticity, vulnerability, and trust.
And trust, yes.
Once you break the trust, you, as the one who cheated,
Yes.
it is up to you to rebuild the trust.
Now this.
You lose the
So
right
you have to be vulnerable.
to put
Yeah.
me in a situation where I'm questioning, because that makes me
Oh,
worried.
so I left.
So when you're going out at night, I have to know who you're with.
Or
Where
we are
are
supposed
you?
to go
Otherwise,
together.
I'll start worrying.
Yes.
You know,
Ama
is he
tuende
cheating?
pamoja.
Is he?
Yes.
Yeah. Things like that, which is very different now from me saying you cannot. I'm now entered a relationship with
Yes.
Miriam, and I say, hey Miriam, by the way, if you want to be my girlfriend from now on,
Hakuna
you are
problem.
not having a password on your phone, or I will clone your phone. This is how it's going to work.
That's
Otherwise,
control.
exactly. You're seeing
Yeah.
the difference,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
Tunaumia sana.
What do you mean to Naumia?
Oh, wait.
and could somebody's low, if somebody has a low self-esteem and maybe insecurities, could this be contributing factors to abuse?
Yes, definitely. Because what happens is that when you have a low sense of self-worth, you try and look for it by getting power over others. So for example, we have that trickle-down effect, which is typically the boss makes noise at you, you make noise at your house help, your house help makes noise at your kid goes and kicks the cat, you know. So it's like that transfer of aggression. But whereas if you have control over your emotions, you know how to stop it. Your boss makes noise at you, you know how to deal with it. You know that is not auntie's problem at home.
So it doesn't trickle down.
It doesn't trickle down. But when people are abused, or even when you're minimized, because part of abuse is made to feel like you're not worth, as a human being, you're worth nothing.
Yeah.
So what happens is when you do gain power over someone, you will abuse that person. So you can find someone is so meek and helpful and kind in the office, but you go and talk to their wife at home, or you go and talk to the kids, they're a monster. Yeah. Because they have to get that feeling of I'm not useless. I am very powerful. And this is where now we have this issue with red pill culture, where now young boys and young men are being taught that for you to have power, for you to be seen as dominant, you have to be harmful to women and the people around you. So that means being aggressive behavior, and they don't understand that there is a difference between being dominant, being domineering. These are two very different things. Having respect, I can respect you and not want to hurt you, is very different from me fearing you and what you're going to do to hurt me.
Okay. Sasa hapo kabla tutoke tusonge, niko na swali. Kuna this type of a human being mwenye yeye kila akiambwa kitu na ataka sijui kufanya nini, it's okay. Sawa. Sijui naenda nini, hata kama hajapenda from within. That kind of a person, you go like, you just go. kuna vitu yani anakuwa tu anaachia vifanyike. What kind of a human being is that?
Huyo they lack boundaries and good communication skills. So huyo ni mtu labda amekaziwa sana akiwa mdogo, hajui kutumia sauti yake. Yeah. So huyo they just have to go through a few sessions of therapy, afundishwe how to have a voice, how to say I don't like this, and it doesn't mean utampoteza huyo partner wako. Atakuwa bado, but you can tell them I don't like it.
Sitaki.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so that they may stop agreeing to everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're speaking to Naireen Louw. She is a counseling psychologist, and we're looking at abuse from the perspective of an abuser. When we get back, we want to know, do abusers even know that they are abusive? Do they know? Or they always make excuses? Like, do you know? We are looking at abuse from the perspective of an abuser. Why do they do what they do? And Naireen, before we went on a break, I asked, are abusers aware that they are being abusive, or do they always justify their actions to themselves?
They always justify. They know they're being abusive. They know it because they know that behavior is not acceptable. That's why they will not do it in public. Okay? But and they know who to manipulate, and they know who to have power over, right?
Yes.
But when it comes to holding themselves accountable and accepting that I am an abuser, that's where their minds disconnect. They refuse. One of the signs of being an abuser is you refuse accountability. So even when you do something wrong and you're shown, here, you did this wrong, you say, but you made me, or, but what about when you did XYZ?
Yes.
You are unable to say, oh man, I really messed up. I need to work on that. They cannot take accountability.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's something you said when you say that's why they don't do it in public. So they are aware.
Oh, yeah, very aware. That's why they can be held liable in court. It's not like they're not, when we say that they have disorders, we don't mean that they're sick, they don't know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
That anything that is learned, a behavior that is learned, I can guarantee you can be unlearned. But the difficulty we have as psychologists is that many abusers tend to minimize therapy. They tend to disregard it, and they refuse. The ones who need it the most, they refuse to come in for therapy.
Yeah.
So that they can address the issues, their past experiences with abuse themselves, why they need this issue of control, how they can be in loving relationships, express love, receive love. They don't want any of that. They're happy to be the way they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you meet somebody at first, you don't meet the abusive side. You meet a loving person, you meet a caring person, you meet an affectionate, you meet somebody who listens to you, they provide, they cater to all your needs.
Maua.
Yes, the flower, all that.
Kila kitu.
They cater to all your needs. So you meet this loving, charming, caring, all that. And then eventually, once you've been with them and you're in love now, you're in it, not 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're all in. Then their character starts to. What happens? Why are they charming at the beginning? And then eventually it's like all the clothes are out.
It's manipulation. They know exactly what they're doing. So first of all, naturally, as humans, when we're courting, think of the birds that dance for each other. And you're like, hey, look at me, I'm so nice, right? But they're usually meeting for a short period and then they're gone, right?
Yeah.
So for humans, we want this to be long-term. And so we're like, I'm so nice, I'm so kind. Look how lovely I am to you. Look how generous I am to you. Whatever you need me to be, I will be that. And this is where narcissists perfect this art.
Yeah.
I will be what you want me to be. I will be the best listener. I will take you shopping. I will be there for you. You want me to do your nails? They will learn how to do your nails. Like they are top notch.
Yes.
Top notch manipulators,
Yes.
right? And that's why what happens then in your mind, you begin to question. As the person who's being abused, you say, but if she loves me, why would she hurt me? I must have done something to her, because she definitely loves me. Look, she bought me a car. Look, she bought me flowers, or he bought me this beautiful dress, or he took me out to dinner, or he posts me on his social media. Like, there's definitely love here.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
So that means that I must have done something to deserve that abuse. Okay, and once you know you're thinking in that way, that means the other person is 100% the abuser. Because remember, we said abusers lack accountability. They can never say, "Oh, it's my fault that this happened." Yeah.
You said earlier on that abuse is a learned behavior, meaning these are some of the things that we pick at an early age. How does somebody pick it up from an early age, especially like when you grew up in a certain setting? How can that lead to one also emulating the same character that they witnessed growing up?
And this is something we see even in terms of sexual abuse, where there is a chance of the child who was sexually abused becoming an abuser in adulthood. Now, I said chance. It is not a guarantee. The same way, if you were abused, beaten up by your parents or your siblings, or whatever form of abuse you experienced in childhood, we know that you didn't have control over that, and that's why you need to come to therapy so we can heal that version of you. But now you're an adult. Now you are held accountable for the choices you make, the behavior that you enact. You're responsible for it. So when someone is abusing you, they have learned it. Yes, there's somewhere either it tickles them, they enjoy it, or it's something that they learned from someone in power when they were younger. But that doesn't remove their accountability. If the person who is an abuser is listening, you need to come into therapy so that we can address the issue from right at the beginning. We go back to the first time. When did you ever feel loved? When was the first time you were hurt by someone who claimed they loved you? And then, is that how you show love? Is that how you experience people's emotions? Because another sign of an abuser is that they are unable to validate your emotions. They will always push it down. Yeah, like, I'm sorry if you're hurt. Why are you crying? Now, is that something to cry over? She's so dramatic, drama queen, things like that. Yeah, they'll always minimize. Salim.
I honestly, I think you've taken me back. You reminded me of this guy who once told me that you don't love yourself so much that you're crying overnight. It's like, what? What?
Okay. What? So umeiona?
Yeah.
Hata mimi kuna kitu amesema hapo nimekiona mahali huko nyuma. Amesema hapo they learn how to kutengeneza kucha. I learned something. Lakini that's story for another day. My question. Swali langu. Umesema huyu mtu mazingira ya kazi. Umekuja, Miriam is happy, our producer there, cameraman. You are making everybody happy. But nikienda nyumbani mimi ndio huyo Firauni. Yes, that's the word actually. Huyo Firauni, wewe ndio shetani. But umesema pia huyu mtu anajua what he or she is doing. Why does that person, kama anajua, aendelee kufanya? Because kama Firauni nyumbani, kazini anachekesha kina Miriam na everything. Mbona kuna those two sides of him?
Power. Remember, tulianza na the signs ya abuser. The first one ni power and control. Ile power inawafanya, it's like a drug. Unaona, ni kama inampa raha, ile raha ya ndani ya roho, ile so excited. So akienda nyumbani, now there are cases we've had where mtu ataenda anunue chakula, hajawacha chakula nyumbani, anunue chakula akalishe family, akule yeye, ampe paka the food. Awache watoto wako. Yes. Yes.
Is that in Kenya?
Yes. These are things we see as therapists. These are people. They're there. And I'm telling you, if you meet that person, this is someone who would be willing to pick a neighbor's child, take them to hospital, but their child can stay at home. These are the people who are willing to go and pick a friend from the airport, drop them, like wanajitolea for their friends, so that everyone out there believes, wow,
this is a good person.
This is a good man.
Oh my God.
But the wife knows, the children know.
But he isn't.
They know he isn't.
So
when the wife now goes and says, people will ask, unfortunately, the question is, ulimfanya nini?
Because he's such a nice guy.
He's such a nice guy.
Hey.
So you see, that's a father now messing with your mind as a
Yes.
victim. Society also enables abusers in some areas. Yeah.
Umetaja mfano hapo, nitajia mfano alafu nipishe Miriam. There is a guy, a friend of mine, and one of them alikuja complain kwangu, but me I'm not a psychologist. Alisema huko kwake hawali nyama wala samaki until ile siku yeye yuko ndo atakula samaki. That's huo mfano wenye umesema wa kwamba mtu anakula anaweza kula afu watu wako hapo alafu wengine apepaka. Now I know.
You see, that's exertion of power.
Yeah.
Because why do you care if your kid has eaten sausages for breakfast, burger for lunch,
Yeah.
dinner kule nyama, inakuhusu nini? Stumbo ni lake, bora you can afford it,
Yeah.
right? But you're controlling what your family can eat. That is a sign
That's a
of
problem.
abuse. Yeah.
Now, let's look at if abusers can change. Yes, and what does the process look like in therapy?
First of all, bringing an abuser in for therapy is very hard. The best way to do it is to seek couples therapy to begin with. And then from there, the couples therapists were trained to, this one is the issue here. Then we will request one-on-one sessions with both of you. But we will prolong the one-on-one sessions now
With the
your
abuser.
abuser. Yeah.
But now, how do I even convince him to go for? I mean, he
Because if they're a narcissist, now if they're psychopath, it's different. If they're narcissists, remember you're their cow. Lazima, they have to milk you every day for that narcissistic energy. You're the one who makes him feel good or makes her feel good about
Yeah.
themselves. That's why they'll never leave you. They'll talk about what a trash person you are, but they're still there.
Yes.
Okay, they need you.
Yes.
So when you begin to show signs of power, first of all, you have to be very careful when that begins, and you demand, we need to go for therapy. If they're in a position to actually get there, that will be the best approach. Then the therapist can take it on from there. Many times, abusers, remember we said they lack accountability. They will refuse completely that they've ever abused you. They will deny reality. They will switch the stories so that it suits in their mind.
Yes.
They're wonderful people. You'll find someone every morning, yani wa kwanza kutoa sadaka, the first one, to kesha, the first one to fast. If they're Muslim, they're the first one on prayers in the morning.
Yeah.
But they're really abusive, and you're like, can you not make the connection
Yes.
that, you're praying to God and yet you're abusing me? But they cannot do that, and they refuse to. They refuse to make that connection. But therapy can help, because remember we said abuse is learned. So whenever you come in for therapy, the first thing we'll do is help you understand the signs that make you an abuser. Can I go through them really quick?
Yes, please.
Okay, so the first one, you enjoy power and control. The second one, you lack empathy, meaning if someone is crying next to you, namwangalia hivi. Unless you only show empathy if it serves you. So if your friend is crying, labda mtu wake amekufa, even you're there, I'm so sorry. Okay, because
Yes.
it will bring you closer. Okay. They are very manipulative. They deny you your emotions. Let me talk to the abusers now. You deny people's emotions. So if you see somebody is crying, somebody is hurt, you try and rationalize it to minimize that emotion. You make them feel like they're overreacting. You change their sense of reality. That's what we call gaslighting. So like now, you crashed the car, let's say, and then the abuser will say, they crashed your car, and then the abuser will say, well, you're the one who was supposed to put brake fluid. Like,
Oh. So it's my fault.
It was your fault, yeah. They hit you in public, and they say, well, then stop being stupid, like the example. Like, yeah, like this is on you. Again, with that lack of accountability, they'll always try and make you accountable for their abuse. So you will blame yourself for me abusing you.
Yeah.
Okay. Control. They will exert control in every aspect of your life. Your social life will shrink. What you dress, what you eat, who you mix with, your money, where it goes. They try and minimize you so that they can contain you and they can feed off you alone. They really want to do that.
Yeah.
They tend to idealize themselves and devalue you. So you're so lucky I'm with you. You know how many women want me? Do you know how many men are in my inbox right now? In my DMs, you know? And you feel lucky now to be with them. And that's one of the biggest tools of control, because it's like, I chose you.
I chose you.
I chose you. Look at yourself. I chose you, and you're here.
Like, you're not even my type.
You're lucky. You're lucky I'm with you.
Like, I wouldn't have dated somebody like you. Whoa.
Exactly.
Tumeambiwa maneno hapa nje kumbe.
That's bad.
Another sign is reactive abuse. They know what buttons to press. I know that if I spoil Miriam's, if she's ironed her clothes in the morning, she's ready to go to work, and I make sure I spoil them, she's going to react in anger. And that's reaction. Once she has that reaction, because you're getting late now, you're under pressure, you have to get to work. When you react in anger, then I say, see?
So make it look like it's me again.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, you're the one who triggered it.
Precisely. They're master manipulators. And then finally, it's intimidation, threats, violence. When we're talking about violence, doesn't necessarily have to hit you. He doesn't, or she doesn't necessarily have to hit you. They don't, like, it's abuse, making you feel like you're not worth anything, making you feel like your reality isn't real, using foul language with you, making you feel like you're stupid, you know, like you can't amount to anything, those kind of things.
What does that do to somebody? And what does that do to somebody who's in a relationship with an abuser? Because all these things, this is somebody who's bringing you down. And even if and even if you had an element of light in you, the blossom is just, it's gone.
You will see it. And if you go through, like, if you're on social media apps, you'll see, like, people would comment and they'd say, yeah, he stole her light, or she stole his light.
Yes.
Like, you need to get away from that person. And I've seen it real time in my family, where we had someone who was so vibrant, energetic, out there, like literally a light, and everyone would come towards her, and got married 10 years. This man completely destroyed who she was, so that even she can't speak up when she's in a room. She's become but she's getting herself back to where she needs to be. But she became a very, here's your cup of tea kind of person. Whereas before she would argue and talk and be like, no, we need this. Completely diminished her. Absolutely. And funny enough, narcissists and psychopaths look more so narcissists. They look for birds that they can cage. They want the beautiful bird. They want the vibrant woman. And you're like, why do you want the woman who's working so that you make her stop working? There's so many women who are happy to be stay-at-home moms. Why are you looking for that? Because they want to cage you. That act of destroying you is perfect for them. They enjoy it. It's pleasurable.
Kwa hivyo ni hizi vitu ni intentional.
Yes.
Very intentional.
How is it that somebody who's vibrant and who's outspoken, how do I get to a space where I lose that side of me?
Loss of worth. When you lose your sense of worth, what am I worth? You know, like when you say, there is no man who will raise a hand to me and I stay.
Yeah.
The women who are in that situation said that too. Many of them. But it doesn't start on the first date. You don't go on a date and the woman slaps you.
No.
It won't happen.
Yeah.
She starts diminishing how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself. So like, you're so useless, you know, you have this is wrong about you, this is wrong. Every day there is something they have to pinpoint that's wrong about you. They never celebrate you, they never make you grow, they never nurture you. So when it gets to the point now, that constant, you know, it's the drip effect. I don't know if you've heard of that Chinese torture method. They just put someone under a rock that's dripping on drop, right? And then it makes, eventually, if you make a dent and the person is gone, right? Same. The drip effect is the same thing, that this person is eroding very slowly over time, eroding your sense of self-worth, so that when they're getting to the point where they're diminishing who Miriam is, Miriam herself is not aware that I'm diminished. You may then look at yourself and say, wait, I used to go out, I used to have fun. Or
like what happened to me?
I want to have fun. Yeah. Or maybe even sometimes in cases of early marriage, you never even got that opportunity. And now you're thinking, you're like, wait, I want to have girlfriends, or I want to have boys as, other men as my friends, and go out with them and have fun and experience that, but your partner is not allowing you to do that.
What then would you say to a listener who is either in an abusive relationship or one that might fear that they are the abusive one?
Okay, if you fear that you're abusive, find a mental health professional. So I would recommend highly a psychologist if you can access them, if not a psychiatrist. Then they will take you through like a checklist and ask you questions and go into your past. It sounds very cliche, but we will have to look into your past, because we are who we were raised to be, right? For many of us, until you're now taught how to fight that and how to become your genuinely put in work to be a good person, right? For the person who's in an abusive relationship, there are resources out there for people to give you help, shelter, to find therapy even for free. There are many therapists who offer therapy for free, but you have to be very careful, because when you're in an abusive relationship, especially over a long period of time, remember the abuser is feeding off you. So that act of leaving them makes them more violent. So that's the most dangerous stage when you want to leave. Do not let them know. Please, please, please don't say, and you'll see when you come home, you're not going to find me here.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Just go. Just go, and make sure you have your support structure in place. Many times they've isolated you even from your family, so you have to be mentally aware that you may be starting from scratch alone. Yeah, but please don't let them know that you're leaving. Just go.
All right. I've been speaking to Naireen. Naireen, what's your social media handle?
It's This Parenting Thing KE on TikTok, on Instagram.
Yeah. Check her out on This Parenting Thing KE. You can DM her. Yes, because I know we do have a lot of questions. Even after this, I still have a lot of questions. But thank you so much. We have been learning about our behaviors. So you know very well, if you are the abuser, change your habits. If you are the one in an abusive relationship, it's never too late. Okay? It's never too late. Seek help. It's Mental Health Thursday. From us, we want to say adios.